Alright, well, I have returned. Alright. I don't get it. I don't get why Adam does these things. It's like, use the tools you have, not the tools you want to have. You know, you can't complain about streaky stars if you fucking set up the scene with streaky stars. It's like, I'm not gonna fix that. Like, you made the damn problem. Ugh. Alright, well, it appears that everything is working for this, which is good. So what do we want? Well, I could see that score getting, like, way the hell out of hand, but that's okay. These numbers also might just get way too out of hand. I might want something where we reduce the size of it. So, like, instead of having, like, trailing zeros, we just, like, round it to, 3 and just do, like, 12.2K or something like that. And then, like thousands and then millions. We could just let it go to crazy infinity numbers, though. That's not the worst thing ever. Alright, so what happens if we go to the leaderboards and click on one of these guys? It's just nothing? Yeah, okay. So we have the user stats page done, is what it looks like. So, I mean, we could have a refresh button, but I'm not too worried about a refresh button on this guy. And I could just throw one right here and just say to hell with it. Might as well, if we're here, add it. Alright, so we've got the history button. Alright, and we need the CSS for that. It's kind of perfectly in line, so just switch the order of those. Yeah, so refresh is over there, history is over there. Alright. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to actually fill out this stat history stuff. So that's going to be two different things. We're going to want to grab the intervals. And we're also going to grab the information for all the stats. I actually have a user profile screen now. What a concept. It's been how long that we've had the game and we finally have like statistics for our players? Okay, so we have finished our profile screen. Let's do our history screen. So we've got our history screen. Okay, so history screen. What's the first thing we need to do? We need to load the intervals. So let's load intervals here real quick. So well, how exactly are we going to do this? We basically want the intervals, but we want to get an interval on each side of it if it's possible. I mean, it's kind of get interval, and we want intervals that are on each side of this for the thing. So I guess we kind of already know the intervals. The only thing we don't know is like the update intervals. Trying to think. Just what I want is the next and the previous one, so I can kind of just page through them. Well, I could just call get intervals and have a whole bunch of calls, but that's not a good idea. So this will be like get intervals, and we want to get maximum of 3 of each type. That's kind of what we're looking at. So let me see. It's kind of, what would it look like? Get intervals with interval contexts. Like, it doesn't matter. We basically want just get intervals around time, and we just want like the time, and then it'll get all the intervals that are to the left and right of this time. Well, I think that can work. So we'll just need to implement everything for it. This should cause a compile error. So what does the query look like? It's basically get the intervals. I mean, there's I guess it's arranged by start time. Okay, so we have a start time. So it's going to be like select star from user intervals where start time is less than time, order by start time descending limit 2 would give me like the last 2, and then it would be select star from user intervals where start time is greater than time, order by start time ascending limit 1. So it's basically these 2. And we want to do that for each context. So we have to like just do a whole bunch of selects for it. I don't like the idea of doing a whole bunch of database calls to snag it, but at some point we don't have enough traffic to justify a huge caching system. It should also be a very cheap operation on the database. Okay, well, we can just go ahead and do that and not worry about it for now, because databases never have problems with scaling. Where are those enums? All right. And I'm not going to worry about using a whole bunch of stuff here. This will be interval name, order by start time, descending limit 2. Okay, so we'll need our response. Alright, so all we have to do here is add the intervals in here. And settle snag absolutely everything that we need, and we just need to return that. Settle snag everything before us and one before, and then I'll snag one after, and it will take quite a few database calls. And I guess we could do like a to-do here. Because caching the results would be pretty simple. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is we want to actually start loading in the intervals. So what we're going to want to do is load stat intervals for time. All right, let's go to those. Game utils. So let's go to our platform manager and start adding in this thing. All right, stat stuff. All right, cool. So let's do our stuff here. All right, so if time does not equal 0, request, what is it, set time to time. And then we just do this, do another HTTP request. All right, well, let's see if that compiles. So if you go to our game utils, we need loads stat intervals for time. So let's see, load profile data. This is the wrong screen. I mean, we should probably have a date in here for this guy. So we'll load our stat intervals. I need to change all my stuff, as always. Let's see. Alright, set compiled. Excellent. Alright, so we should get our intervals. I think we set a breakpoint. We'll just make sure we're getting our correct information once it all boots up. So get our intervals, and then basically we'll get our current interval and we'll request data for that interval. And then as we page through, we'll like get our interval start times and then request the next one and everything like that. So stats, user history. So let's take a look. What is our response here? We have no intervals. Alright, well, that's not good. So why didn't we get any intervals? So, alright. Interval name is all time. There are no objects for this. Well, it looks like I got my stuff mixed up here. So this should be in the other order. Oh, that would do it. I have to wait for this thing to actually log in. There we go. Finally able to do it. Alright, so snag our intervals. Our response has 2, 3, 4, 5. There is an issue here though, which is that we did not get the intervals that we wanted, so okay, so start time needs to be less than or equal to a value, interval name daily. Order by start time descending. Okay, so that should give us 2, but it's not. And then this guy is only giving us... Alright, so start time is greater than this. Well, how many intervals are there? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so that's all time daily. Alright, so there's no objects here for daily? Well, the reason it's giving us the wrong answers is because we're giving it the wrong date. That's what it looks like. Oh, I see. So what needs to happen here is 64 big time equals time. Do big time times 1,000. It's probably wrapping around that integer. Let's boot this up and see what we got rolling around. Hopefully we fix that integer issue. UI is just not a very popular thing to stream on Twitch. Whatever. It's just absolutely necessary. Got more people viewing Perforce merges than working on fucking leaderboards. Alright, so we got this back. And let's see what we have. We've got 6 intervals, 2 of which are daily intervals. So we got the start and end time there, and we've got the start and end time there. Yeah. Okay, so we actually got our stat intervals. Now we need to return those stat intervals to our UI. So in order to do that, we need some objects that we can actually use. So it's going to be game objects. So we need a stat interval object here. And we're going to need stat intervals. So this is going to be, the first variable will be our time. And this will just be a long Alright, so for stat interval, we're going to need the interval ID and all the rest of this trash. We have the interval context. We have the interval name. We have the start time and the end time. I mean, all time, we should only have one all time. That's just how it is. So it's a stat interval. Complex is going to be true. So we can have our current stuff, but I guess this needs to be an array. I could split this up into like next, previous, and everything else. It's probably good enough. Alright, we're going to need an event. Alright, so this is what we're going to be hooking up here. So we need to go back to our transformation utils and make a new transformation utility function. I wish they had the control mouse wheel for navigation on more programs as opposed to having that be zoom in, zoom out. Because I don't find myself very often needing to zoom in and zoom out on text. But I do find myself needing to kind of like in Eclipse control mouse wheel is move faster. So it's nice to like scroll to the top super fast. Alright, so for transforming this thing, we need to... Alright, so what we need to do is for every one of these, do things. Okay, so our interval names, do we actually have the enums for this? Like we have them in service enums, but we have them in game enums? Nope, not a damn chance. Alright, well, let's get that thing made then. Alright, so we're going to want our game objects, so this is going to be an fstat interval pointer. So get interval name? Yeah. Okay, so we need to make an interval and then we need to set it. So we have a new interval, and basically the new interval it's not even picking everything up, is it? switch out of this guy, so if it's one of these, then basically this will be info.allTime is going to be new interval. Otherwise, we just add these things in here. So this will be seasonal, monthly, weekly, and daily. So that'll transform all that. And we should now be calling our JavaScript back with our event data once we load it. Alright, 1 second. Just waiting for this to compile. And just still gotta keep waiting. That's how it goes. Very good. So we should be getting pretty much everything here. And let's see exactly what we got. So the profile screen, we have load profile.